All right, welcome everybody to stream number 1 of my fan port of Alwa's Awakening to the NES. My name is Paul. I go by InfiniteNesLives online. We learned some lessons last week on getting my stream set up better here, so now I've got better microphone and Ethernet connection running down here. And hopefully things are working a lot better now. So we are just going to dig in here. As far as these streams go, I don't really have a I'm not putting much preparation in this. I'm just gonna kind of figure things out as we go here. So for better or for worse, that's how we're going to do it. So today I just wanted to start working on some of the graphics assets and try to build some screens here, maybe some of the opening menu and stuff, and at some point we'll have these put into a ROM. So let's see here. We want I don't really have any. I'm working directly from the Steam copy of Alwa's Awakening that I bought. And one thing that I found that kind of works with stuff like this is just taking straight up screenshots. But it helps to have the resolution more native. Now, this is resolution of 800 by 480. I don't know how well that's going to work for us. So let's just pull up. I'm not going to remember anything until I get more comfortable probably, but we'll just Google everything as we go. Mostly make sure I'm not lying about stuff too. Okay, so NES is 256 by 240. And so let's just kill the sound on. I don't know if there's I want to kill the sound on my. I'm gonna put sound volume down to 0. Everybody's saying hi guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll do what I can to try to make this entertaining, but no promises. I'm just I don't know. I to some degree I'm using streams as a commitment device of sorts. Either come in and do the stream or I didn't. I don't have to feel guilty for working on a fun project like this when I have 500 other things I could be working on. So this is just and having a video log of this would be interesting, and having some sort of numbers on how much time it took to actually do this. So for anybody tuning in during this, thanks. And I've got the Twitch will save the past 14 days, so this will be on Twitch for a little bit, and then I'll get it figured out how to get these things on YouTube. So I don't know how this is gonna work. If our might not work very well at all, but let's just grab a screenshot here. So we're going by 256 by 240 or thereabouts. And by the way, if there's any if you're having a hard time hearing me or any issues with the stream, let me know. We're not having any problems like we were last time by the looks of it. So, oh, that's a screenshot from my other screen. That's the problem. Let's try that again. But yeah, let me know in the chat so I can do something about it. I'm quite the noob when it comes to this streaming stuff, so if there's any issues, I want to know. So I'm just using Microsoft Paint here. Clear percentage needs to be a little bit louder, but maybe. I'll just try to get a little closer here. I can mess with the gain. I didn't realize there was a gain setting last time, but anyway, I can actually hear myself now too, which is better with this microphone. So hopefully that helps out. Okay, so yeah, we're looking close to that. So when I've done this before, when I tinkered around with Shovel Knight, there's a resolution setting to actually put it in. There's 16 by 9, but the vertical resolution was good. So we need to, let's just see how big that's going to look in proportion here. So we need to be way down there, and I'm guessing scaling it is not going to work very well. Well, we could try putting it in Earth view or something and see how it does. Oh, the other thing is I don't really have a timeline as far as how long I'm going to do these things. I'm just going to kind of go till I'll get tired of it, or I don't know. We'll see. I don't have much of a format here. So let's take this. This is 800 by 480. And so if we have that, it's twice as big as we want. So let's save this as a PNG. These are some of the assets that they had online. So I forget the website, but anyway, I'll find those. And some of these things are already up there for people to work on, to do their own fan work or whatever. But so we have some of those things to work with as far as the sprites go, but we don't really have anything in terms of the background. So let's just save this. Title. Or let's do it as a bitmap. We're gonna run into colors, number of colors in the bitmap too, but I don't really care about the actual colors because I'm gonna be picking those palettes out later, but we'll lose some detail if we cut out too many colors. Colors getting combined, so I shouldn't have done that, but I'll do it again here. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and save this. That's what it is, and then we won't have to recreate it if we want to do something else here. We'll save it as PNG first, and then see what happens if we save it as a bitmap. So Paint gives us a few options here. Let's try 256 and see if we lose the details from the bricks like we did last time. Okay, looks pretty good. So we've got, what was it, 256 color bitmap now. So let's open that up in Earth and View. Which one is it there? Okay. See what happens. I don't think, fingers crossed, but my hopes are not high. Okay, so let's image, resize, resample. So right now it's twice as big. So the aspect ratio is wrong, of course, but we're going to be working around that the whole time. And yeah, oops. Yeah, it's not, oh wait, I scrolled through my image. No scrolling. Let's see if I undo that, nothing. Okay, so make sure I've actually got the right file here. I didn't save it as a different thing. Let's just save it as something, give it a different name so we don't confuse ourselves here. 256 color. Okay. So if we edit that guy to half of it, I don't really like how it looks in the end. Oh, why is it doing that? Oh, because of my window. So, yeah. I don't really like how we're doing here. Let's just, I'm going to have this problem the whole time in the game. I wonder, really, the nice thing is when we can get the actual, we can use the screenshots because the resolution's the same that we want it in, but everything's bigger. And it's possible that there's some other way around this that not having, but let's do see if there's any settings. I don't think there is. So where's our paint? Let's think about this. It's basically everything is 4 pixels. We want it to be 1. So if we zoom in here, just look at this. Yeah. So you need to figure out a way to change that. But for now, maybe let's just test to see if, let's pretend we don't have this problem. Let's just test our conversion from bitmap. Let's pretend we solved this problem for now. And everything's going to be 4 times as many pixels, but we'll just go with it. So we were going for 256 by 240, which is let's just try to get Alwas in there. I've already cut it off, but it's all the way down there. Okay, so something like that. That's 256. So if we get a source graphic down to this size, I think we can convert it with NES screen tool, but we're probably going to run into some problems with the colors. Let's just see what happens. Alright, figure out where my screen tool is here. Okay, so yeah, so NES Homebrew is saying did all his leisure suit Larry conversions and error from view. I'm not able to see the rest of his comment there for some reason. There we go. If you have a certain setting so it doesn't blend the closest pixels. Yeah, it's clear it's saying so much of it is just experimenting with it. Yeah, so I'm not looking into that tip NES Homebrew was saying there, but let's just go ahead and try this for now. So import bitmap as a is that what I want? Let's just do it. Okay, there, I did it. But of course, we lost some of our colors here, but I'm gonna think about the colors here a bit, even if this was right. I haven't put much thought into the fact of if we can do this on the NES. I think we should be able to, because as far as background goes, we've only really got 2 colors for the bricks, and then the wording here is white, orange, yellow, purple. But the purple is separated from the black. So blacks are background, but the purple is separated from the yellow enough so that we could have one palette for the bricks. One of them So let's just play around with our, grab some colors on this one, even though it's, so we'll say palette 0 for the bricks to some degree. We'll take this blue and that gray. I guess a white. The other thing is these, yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna have to figure out a way, and I think the way I've done this before is in Paint, I basically retouched up to change to the first 16 palette colors of the bitmap file, and dealt with it in that way. If you like use the first 8, if you only use the first 8 in the 256 bitmap file, then when you pare it down to a 16 color bitmap, then it'll import okay. But so I just took a bunch of random colors, not caring. It's a little bit tedious, but yeah. Anyway, so back to our colors here. So if our first one was a brick color, and then the next one, we're always gonna need that white, and then we're gonna need some sort of orange and a yellow, and then the same orange. I don't know which one I have that one. Okay, orange, and then purple. So yeah, I mean, obviously we got plenty, so we got a whole palette spare. I don't think, let's just go through, see some of these other screens here. So I got stage select, which is all just white and gray with the bricks. And then we have Zoe herself, but she could be a sprite or something. You know. But anyway, she could be a background either way. It doesn't matter. But we've got room to spare there. We get in here. Yeah, so I don't. Oh, and I'm not actually back at the beginning of the game. Let's quit game. Yes. Let's actually go back and look at some of these other screens. So the settings is still white and black. About, I got some green in there, and then the guys who made the game, which, anyway, there's nothing, there's subsequent screens. Oh, I quit it. But I wanted to see, okay, so we have these ones too. They're just white. So opening credits, the Eldon pixels, just white. We have some of the opening title screens. I'm just going to grab some of these screenshots from now when it's going, or at least the first one or so. So we have the loading screen, and then we have this. We're going to have to figure something out for sure for these scene here, but we've got the one scene. That's pretty much it. So once we actually get into the game, then we're dealing with less stuff. So part of me is thinking about this issue of importing a bitmap and how valuable that is. What's worth, how much we're going to do this, and maybe it's as simple as InfiniteNesLives, like NES Homebrew is saying, but I haven't really put much thought into going about this. And so as far as the graphics in the game go, it's fairly simple. It's not going to push our background tile count much, except for the fact of, well, it shouldn't be too, I mean, we got these, there's not a whole lot of different tiles going on, at least in these first few screens. And we have some detail with some of the broken walls and such, but we can always pare those down if need be. But it'll certainly make the graphics conversion easier, and I mean, maybe to some degree I can ask the Elden Pixels guys that it's possible they may already have a lot of these things in the resolution that I need, which could save a lot. So let's see, let's try InfiniteNesLives like NES Homebrew is saying here. So the resolution downsizing, oh, he did all the actual editing in graphics scale. I'm not familiar with that. I have to check that out. Let's look at, see what options we have in InfiniteNesLives here. Yeah, so issue is blending closest pixels. Part of the thing is it actually gonna bound toward tile boundaries and everything? But that's to some degree a matter of massaging the file in a grid. I guess that's the other thing to think about here is, what is this actually look like as far as if we were to do it in tiles? So because we're gonna the title screen alone, the way they have it drawn, I think we're going to be pushing past the limits of what's really possible unless we do a bunch of bank switching in the title screen, which seems kind of silly just for that alone. So to some degree this might be a manual process anyway, so I might just, but let's see here, because let's go back to file in Paint, and Ben Shaku's saying the main problem will be that since the screen is 240 pixels high, 480, the status bar will be in the 8 pixel overscan, so it's the bottom two, and it's talking about in the actual game there. May change the bank halfway for the fonts. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking about. Part of it's like how much at this point it'd be cool just to have a title screen, even if it's not exactly like the original, and then come back and when you've thought more about bank switching to get more tiles, but I mean, it should be possible, but there's not. It doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of reused tiles. Because I mean, even like the tip of the W here is different than the other ones. I mean, it's reused on this W, but the tip of this W is different than the K, and I mean, some of the bottoms are going to be reused, so maybe it's not that bad, but even the bottom of the K is different than the bottom of the A. And so, I mean, a lot of times these in NES games, these title screens will reuse quite a bit. They, you know, they weren't restricted by that, so they made it look cool, and it would be good to do. But I'm trying to figure out if this is something I want to do right now. So let's see if we can find that setting. And yeah, Benchmark was saying we could just stuff with sprites, which is true, but to some degree, I don't know how far I want to get into the weeds with the title screen. I thought this would be and we figuring out. So because that's one thing, if we can't figure out the importing, it may be as simple as maybe they have these assets in the native resolution and they're willing to share them with me. I don't know, we'll see. But so in the resize resample, see what we have for settings here. Okay, so size method. We have these filters. We basically want none of these skins. Resize, faster, lower quality. I don't know what that's. Use fast resample filter. I don't think any of this stuff is really gonna do what we want. Part of me thinks that digging in, if we do have to convert all of the files, so one way is just doing it manually, redrawing these things in a lower resolution, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun for as much as we're gonna have to do. There may be some tool out there that does this, but the bitmap file itself is not that complicated of a file format. We could go in and make some sort of conversion tool that basically picked the pixel on the top left and ignored the other 4 pixels and resized everything how we wanted it. The benefit of that, the other thing is looking into finding out if there's bitmap conversion tools out there that do what we want. Last time I looked into this was going on 4 years ago or so, and there weren't a lot of options. Maybe there's more now, but I'm not aware of them. Yeah, so I don't think it'd be that crazy of a tool, but I guess to some degree we may not even need it. Yeah, so we'll put that. Some of these things I'm not going to sit here and research on camera. But basically it would be 400 or 800 by 480. It's also possible there's some way I can change the resolution within the game, and then that would do a lot of it. Shaku's got some other comments here about the background attributes get in the way, which I don't think we're going to have an issue with the title screen, but I mean, in the game in general, we're probably going to have some conflicts with that. And yeah, maybe not public yet, but some other tools that might be out there that aren't public. Otherwise, if we can't get the file, it's possible they don't even have them. But I imagine that they were created in that format, but it's not like they owe them to me either. So, so I'll ask them, the Eldon Pixels guys, and see if they have anything that could help out there. Otherwise, we're gonna figure something out. And so might just start to analyze some of the game more here. Start thinking about some of these things in a more detailed manner. So I thought I'd turn the, yeah, okay. I don't really, for the time being, want audio coming out of the game. Although I think I still have my screenshot in my clipboard. Let's see what's in there. Yeah. Just go ahead and I messed it up. Maybe we can did it again. Okay. Yeah, so Saka Anku is asking, you're porting Alwa's Awakening to the NES. Yes. Yes, I am. That's what we're doing here. So, and then Earth and View, best image viewer ever. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It would be cool if there's some sort of conversion or melding of Paint and Earth and View. I wouldn't constantly go back and forth between the two, but they each have their place. Let's just go ahead and save. So the opening story, we've got a copy of that. And this is a bit more interesting to think about how we might try to convert this to work on the NES. Part of it's just if we have some sort of conversion tool chain from all these bitmap, the source files into just a bitmap, it's pretty quick to open them up with NES screen tool and get things for tile counts. Obviously something like this, it's not going to find any. It's not. I mean, there's not going to be any common tiles unless we tell it. Well, it might actually. Some of the blank tiles that Screen Tool, I think, finds those, but everything else, and I'm probably going to be redrawing this. But here again, it's nice to have it in the native resolution that we want, not 4 times it, but to some degree, with OpenView blurring everything, is less of an issue. But anyway, so this background part of this too is the whole game is in 16:9. And we're going to 4:3. We're going to be keeping the game in the same scroll means. So every single screen is going to have to be redesigned in 4:3. But if we've already got the tiles drawn up, my thought is just drawing the screens in NES Screen Tool one by one. Maybe there's better options out there using tiled or something like that, but we'll look into that when we get there. So going back to what I was saying, we gotta condense everything. For the most part, a lot of these screens have a good amount of extra space. You know, we don't need this. I can actually put my mouse on the screen here. But anyway, right here we've got basically 2 tiles, or not tiles, but they'd be meta tiles. So if we had 8x8 tiles, then here we've got extra there. So we're gonna be able to squish it down, but these blocks and everything she's those standing on, everything's for the most part an 8x8 tile, it looks like. In general, all we've really got is the status bar at the top, which is pretty small. And so Manchuck is saying, still think it'd be give you a good headache to condense them, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, but it's also, I mean, it depends upon what you enjoy, but to some degree, it kind of becomes a game or a puzzle to redo it, rethinking what they've done, and I actually, my initial thought was to keep things in the same aspect ratio. Well, not the same, but keep the map as it is. Not to squish everything into 16:9, but to basically have each room still be 16:9, but have you basically scroll within the room from one side to the other, which was my initial mindset of how to solve the problem, and I talked with the creators, and he kind of pushed me to or not pushed me, but he brought up that to be the way that they intended it was to have no actual scrolling, just to have the back and forth between the rooms. And so with that input from them, I kind of came around to the idea, and I, of course, like to reserve the right to change my mind at any point, but I think it's more, it's not going to be as bad as, I mean, all these screens are going to have to be redrawn anyway to some degree. I don't know if I really want to. It doesn't necessarily sound like an unfun task to me, to redraw the screens. And yeah, you're saying it'll change the game itself, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. But so all was originally intended to be, it was planned to be an NES game, and they weren't able to keep their, I think they had a programmer for the NES, and he wasn't able to stick around, and so they left the challenge of the NES behind just to finish the game as it is. So to some degree, my side goal is to kind of make it like what they were originally going for, and so, but I mean, playing through the game, you know, I haven't, you know, looked at all these screens, but in the game will be different. It's not going to be exactly the same. Comment here that it seems like that would require tuning the movement speeds, jumping, etc. And it might. I don't, you know, like I said, I reserve the right to change my mind, but I don't think it's necessarily impossible. Yeah, and like Clippers is saying, some of them have pretty wide borders, so it wouldn't be so bad. There's a lot of empty space in some of these rooms when you're walking through it. Like, I mean, look at this screen here. There's really, you know, a lot of them. It's not a big deal at all to squish these things down. Now, some of them, you know, the platforming, but can I fit, you know, 2 ladders or 3 ladders and a couple platforms, and a bad guy? Like, it's not really going to be that much of a challenge to. There's not so much stuff going on the screen that's going to be impossible. Or, yeah, this is kind of where I'm thinking it's going to be fun to rethink the game in a way, and it's not going to be the same. And I mean, the other thing you think about games back in the day getting ported from one system to another. Nowadays we're used to, well, you buy a game for the Switch or the Xbox or the PlayStation or the Steam, like it's all the same experience. But you know, as it used to be, you bought a game for the NES, and it might also be released on the Super Nintendo, or even if you go back and look at some of the conversions of the ports that Japanese developers, I guess, some of the games that they converted to the NES, like Aladdin, and like, I mean, it's a true port of the game. Yeah, it's not the same exact thing. If you're going to be doing a speedrun comparison, it's not going to be the same, but that's not necessarily what we're going for here. So as far as the game in general, we've got our heads-up display, and it's wider than we can do, but we can always abbreviate words if need be. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah, let's load up my previous save, I'd actually gotten to the point where I had some things unlocked. So the up here in the top left corner, yeah, and someone's wondering if we could do the waterfall with pallet cycling. I don't have it up in right now anymore, but I think that's probably an option. The other thing is we can do, well, we could definitely do our own, even if it's not going to be exactly the same with pallet cycling. The other thing is it's repetitive. We could also tinker around with bank switching. But looking at the top heads up display here, so in the top left corner, we've got these 3 boxes. These are our magic, and I haven't gotten to the point in this game in my save here on my PC. But these are the magic. So we got the block, and then I'm trying to remember. You got the bubble. You shoot the bubble, and then there's the other one that is escaping me right now. I haven't played this game for about 2 months. And then we got our magic bar that recharges. And then the room we're in, and then the little medallions that we've collected. I forget what this guy is. And then it's empty right now, but then the one on the right are just our health. So thinking about that in terms of the NES, it should be relatively easy to do with the sprite 0, similar to Mario. But the other thing is we are supposed to scroll vertically. I'm forgetting how that. I think I'd die if I go down here. No, there we go. I'm not gonna be able to redo it though. But anyway, we have that split there where the whole screen will scroll vertically. Oh yeah, the lightning bolt. That's the other thing that we shoot. So I can't get in there right now. So the screen's scrolling vertically when we go from one screen to the other. And then we have our left to right scroll. At the time, I'm not really gonna mirror myself to one map or another, but very well we'll use like an MMC3 and just do a split screen there. That'll definitely make it simpler. And then we can also have those screens, 2 screens drawn out on neighboring name tables. We shouldn't need 4-screen mirroring. And we'll just have that scroll when we update from one to the other. So scrolling in general is going to be fairly easy because we won't have to be actively drawing it as we scroll. And so I think, anyway. So what I kind of wanted to do was get some things drawn, even just the first screen. And oh yeah, here's something else we have to think about, is the map. So in terms of the map gets bigger, obviously, as we have all the places unlocked. Let me close out of there. Somehow we're gonna have to fit this map. And I guess one easy thing is basically this whole area is going to be undone. I guess if we had to, we could draw this out as two name tables and scroll. I don't know if even if we left this magic and items and others on a different screen, perhaps, if it's going to fit, but graphically, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. The map itself is pretty basic in terms of tiles. It's going to be getting down to what tile, how many tiles we have to work with, where we need to limit ourselves and simplify some of the things down. Let's go back to the save where we're on the first screens. I thought this was here, but I guess I was walking and talking. I'm not sure if I can actually get back right now. Let me just delete it. Delete this one. Yes. All right. Let's go ahead and get. Oh. I thought she was going to talk to me. All right, here, let's get a screenshot of this guy. I have to figure out text boxes, of course. For now, these are mostly just for reference, so we don't have to play the game to look at these things and think about them. Okay, so these bricks are pretty simple. Let's just start drawing some of the stuff, even if our artwork is not final. guess the other thing is we actually have, well, my map's not found, but these rooms are all numbered and everything. So we'll adopt the same naming technique, but let's do NES screen tool and have a fresh session here. I don't know. If there's actually a way to do that. I don't want to have this junk left over. I need to have a shortcut for easy access to any screen tool. Put this guy up here. But we can just do a few of these by hand. Okay, blank canvas. And let's start this second screen. No, I don't want there. Let's open it in Paint. Zoom in here and look at some of this stuff. I guess to some degree we can go ahead and draw a status bar. So every 4 pixels is a pixel because of our resolution. So these guys, two, and this is where I feel like Paint suffers not having some sort of grid. Let's just draw it. So we've got white coming in. Basically looks like that. So we're gonna need the corner. We need all 4 corners. So that's top left, top right. Bottom left and bottom right will be this bottom right, and this will be bottom left. Yeah, you can define a grid in GIMP, and I'm not good with GIMP, but realize, or I want to be. I spent a little bit of time with it, not as much as I'd like. So we're just going to need bars for the top and bottom. Yeah, so Forsaken Valley, this text isn't really fit our background grid. And we're probably going to be using sprites for some of these features if we want them to be colored. You can always make it simpler if we don't have enough color. The 3 magic slots, I think in the original game they're grayed out if it's not selected, so you only really have to have one of them in color. The magic bar is 2 colors, I think, same as this blue ball, and then your health, I think they just disappear. But we definitely don't have these words in sprites, and they're not going to fit in our background. So that's going to be an issue. Could burn a bunch of background tiles to do it, but I guess the other way to do it would be is this is being narrow. If this were instead, right now it's basically 2 tiles tall, and if we're 3, then the text could be the center tile. But I don't know if we're necessarily going to want to give up that space vertically. Let's just imagine we have a solution for that for now, and come back to it. Start getting some of these. Oh, it automatically selects that first tile for the background. Be nice if it was just black. We can just draw it with this bottom one though. It's not really going to matter. Let's just... Is there an easy way to... Oh, I think there's a way to copy these tiles. Yeah. I don't know if we can copy multiples or not. At this point, it's going to take a second. Slide these over. For simplicity, tile 0 is going to be black. So Ben Shock is saying bank switching for fonts, split them up as the top and the bottom part. Mega Man 9 does some stuff like that in the Wii. Yeah. And we're going to have background, or we're going to have text boxes and stuff too, so getting the text up there is going to be something, but the way the heads-up display is designed, those words are not fitting within the grid. And I don't know if we necessarily want to make it taller, but we'll worry about that later, I guess. Okay, so we're going to have these boxes. Let's just save this. Let's make a new folder for any screen tool. So this NES screen tool has some funny. I think you hold shift. Oops. If you hold shift, you can click here and then paste. So those are going to be our first three. And then we've got our magic bar. I don't know. This wouldn't necessarily have to be. We want a little bit bigger. I think we're going to want it one more bigger. So our magic bar. Some amount for the location we're at. On the far right, we're going to have our health. We should be able to fit 3 little tokens in there. I forget what that guy is. And then the orbs we've collected. And the rest of it we have room for. Room for the name of the map. The other thing is we're not really supposed to put things all the way up in the corners in the top. Yeah, so the safe area on the NES, and I guess to some degree, I don't know, I'm gonna have to. So safe area for the NES, and this is different. For now, I'm just gonna think about NTSC, but it's not the same for PAL. So we don't really want, this is just the NESDev wiki, what they're saying, do's and don'ts. So the top and bottom 8 lines, you're unlikely to see. Most TVs hide it, so you don't want anything vital there. The safe area, or the action safe area, 256 by 224. I don't know what that number is saying exactly. Most TVs show some of this. So really it's those top and bottom. So part of me says the top of these things aren't that vital anyway, but straight up not see them on a CRT. I guess the other thing is how much vertical space are we really working with here? We don't want to have to squish it vertically, just horizontally. So for now, for lack of better things to do, let's just draw some of these bricks and start making this screen. So I don't know exactly how we're going to deal with collision detection at this point. There's lots of people that have. I haven't done a whole lot of it. But to some degree, splitting up your background into tiles that you can pass through and tiles that you can't. So the greater numbered tiles you can't pass through and the lower ones you can, or vice versa. So for now, we'll use this bottom row to start putting in things we can't pass through. And there's also ladders, think about, and destructible things, these special things basically that are not just what you can and can't go through. So let's try to recreate some of these tiles here. So the blocks here, it's actual size of these. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And then I'm assuming this is 16. The top is gray, the bottom is black. And then when we have these edges, the left side is gray. So maybe we'll just draw this 8x8 guy here first. First palette's already pretty good. Well, yeah, so we don't need white. So the bottom row is going to be black. I'm actually copying it exactly here, but why not? It's not that bad. Okay. This letter's a little blocky. Now the next one is going to be the first half of the rectangular block here. The block's up against the top left corner. Before the guy's going. Gray all across the top. Yeah, this is definitely not something we want to do for the entirety of the background. So let's just getting kind of bored of this. Finish him up, and as long as you got the same geometric shape, we'll call it good. Some sort of space there. This backside needs, drop my controller there. Anyway, oh, we've got some sort of block here. So, if I don't even think this is outside the safe zone. But we can still draw it anyway. I got some of these tiles added in for detail, these broken bricks. I'm not going to worry about these right now. We don't necessarily need them, but they're fun. It adds quite a, it's not much. And I feel like it really adds quite a bit to the look of the game. It reminds me of one of my favorite games as a kid, Rolling Thunder. One of the many Tengen games I had from video game store going out of business. But they had those little broken things and subtle details. So we've got, if we're thinking of these in meta tiles, then which I'm pretty sure the game's gonna fit within that. We have 2 meta tiles high on the bottom. Start building down from the top and see where we're at here. So I'm pasting in 4 meta tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Hey, the size matches up. Yeah. So that's basically it. Now, to go back to our thoughts of the status bar up here at the top. Technically, they are with the original design is within the vertical constraints of the NES, but we're not necessarily going to see this top line up here, which isn't very cool. if we're playing on a CRT, which is a place to be, or at least support it. We don't want all of, especially like this, the corners are the worst for the older ones. You wouldn't even necessarily be able to see which magic item I've selected, but she does have things where it pops up above her head, if I recall correctly, where you can see the color there, but we need to be able to see this stuff up here, so part of me says just go ahead and make it 3 tiles high in the heads-up display. You won't necessarily see these top areas depending upon your display. I'm not actually sure, unlike the AVS and HD consoles and even emulators, I think some of them I'm cut it off, or I don't know, but the problem is if we make it 3, then those tiles got to come from somewhere. On a screen like this, no big deal. We could lose them from the bottom, but I don't know about other screens. Let's see if I can find my controller here. Okay. And even in this screen, we could lose it from the top. I mean, we're squishing vertically, or we're squishing horizontally regardless. Part of me says to lose the tiles from the top, because look at this here at the bottom. If we lost, we don't necessarily need to see the bottom row of bricks, but visually we'd be losing something there, or aesthetically. But at the top, those are just, I mean, it wouldn't matter really whether there was 1 row of bricks or 2, but then that also gets into the aspect of how our meta tiles are defined. But to some degree, you don't need those bricks at the top. Let's just play a little bit more here and see what kinds of issues that might become. And you know, not seeing everything, but we're gonna have to come up with an answer one way or another. Looking at a screen like this, no big deal. Just take them from the top. Doesn't really matter how tall that is vertically. We can adjust accordingly. Yeah, and there's things going on at the bottom. We've got our pokey vines down there. We don't want to lose those. So if we're giving up the space, where do we give it up and make the least amount of work for ourselves and still have things look good on a multiple displays? So I mean, even in this room, the stuff at the top is not that big of a deal. We get into a screen like this, and there's quite a few of these. We don't necessarily need that row at the top. Visually it is nice. And it does, I mean, I guess to some degree, it doesn't, yeah, we don't really want to break our meta tiles. So even though we only need a row of 8, we kind of want to give ourselves more. So I don't think we're really thinking about this more. I don't know how much of a choice we really have, and it kind of solves the problem of the text of the location. And if we're already squishing things horizontally, what's a big deal? Let's do it vertically too. But I think in general, stealing space, I mean, you're spending your time on the bottom of the screen walking around. In general, dealing with lost area in the top of the screen overall is less of a deal, especially these open areas. Don't even really require conversion. Yeah, thinking about that waterfall. I think you could do it with palette swapping, but that's definitely, it wouldn't have the same aesthetic. But I don't know, I kind of like palette swapping the way it looks. Anyway, worry about that. Let's see. Yeah, but Subin Shock is saying, don't forget that removing rows may affect the vertical scroll. And yes, but we're basically going to be rebuilding every screen as it is anyway, to deal with the aspect ratio. And so, I mean, there's some things that we might run into, you know, making the screen work, but so I think what I'm going to decide to do is, we shouldn't really be able to see the top anyway. Having fewer things cut off, the better, but this keeps things on a valid meta tile grid. So we'll make our HUD 3 tiles tall. Need some vertical guys here. draw those in. Oops. Okay. Things aren't really square anymore. It kind of looks dumb. I don't know if I like that. I guess part of the thing is well, maybe it's not that dumb. And like I was gonna say, is part of me says, are these little boxes really necessary? But anyway, it doesn't much matter at this point whether or not we make them square and have all this dead space at the top, have two things of dead space, or if we have it three, which then allows us to put letters in, and this can be can you actually put things in there? I don't know. Maybe it won't look so bad. Let's go ahead and draw all that. Little ball. We're not really going to be... I'm not really going to want to give up colors in the heads-up display. Well, if we have colors in the heads-up display, they're going to be using sprites. Anyway, so let's just stick with that for now. If we want these to square, we can. If we don't, it solves our problem. So let's just leave that for now. Good enough. And let's draw the rest of the screen. Just kind of go through the motions of thinking of screens in a different aspect ratio. Yeah, so Ben Chucker's saying that attributes clash will be your next issue by skipping a line. But we're maintaining our attribute line. Yeah, not just I've been saying we don't want to break meta tiles, but more importantly, we can't break attribute tile boundaries either. So no matter what we do, this is kind of where our boundary has to, our screen split's gonna have to be here. So the first so the heads up display is 4 there's 2 attribute table grids tall. So the first 2 rows are gonna be the heads up, and then we can use other attribute tables down here. Yeah, now it's fine because it's 3 height. So You guys get the joy of hearing my furnace turn on. I've got the I found a filter in OBS, that a noise filter that seemed to be pretty good, but I don't know, I just gotta kind of deal with it. It's freaking cold outside right now. In the single digits. So if it's terrible, you'll have to let me know, and maybe I'll find a different solution. But some test recordings I did, it wasn't too bad. So we need a little hole in the top of the screen to fall down. Oops. So maybe there-ish. Gotta make sure I'm sticking with my grid though. It's going to start coming on a lot more often now too. So I went ahead and turned the temperature up. Well, I turned it down before the stream, so we'd have some amount of time with the house's heat. But fact of life. So yeah, and here's just, I'm gonna think about when we're designing these screens. Well, this whole area over here, in general, anything we can take from the edges, we should. Maybe put that there. These guys didn't have. Little stubby blocks anyway. Thinking about when doing this, it'd be nice to have some sort of like visual guidance for where it's halfway, you know, a quarter, or we can put it, but I think it's something we're just gonna have to get good at. Oh, is that the right? That is an interesting idea there. So you get, did it accidentally. But it's kind of a free insert randomness. So because this brick here, the stubby brick is all the way to the left, you can use it as the right half of the brick and get some randomness in there. they didn't do that. They created these broken bricks here. But something you can, doesn't cost any tiles. You're not gonna have as good a compression, but it's free in the tile sense, so that's an interesting accident. So let's make ourselves some of these little wood platforms. It's gonna have to be the next, or not necessarily the next, but another palette. Well, so we need 2 browns, basically. Well, they have 3. So they've got a dark brown that has a shadow, a medium brown, and then a tan for the light. As far as our bricks go, we didn't actually use the last color. Other things going on, I feel like the color we didn't use would be to have a brown. So these destructible bricks could be the same palette. And then I guess the other thing is these broken bricks use some brown. So let's just make that guy brown. I don't know if that's good brown. It's kind of a darker brown. I'll just go with that one for now. We also have these ladders. As their design, they've got the same darker brown, light gray, and dark gray. So that would be the same palette. We've got this main background now. For this, to some degree, we can use the same palette. There's black, which is going to be our transparent color. There's a brown, and then gray. So these are, you can walk through these tiles, but these fit in this same palette. So looking at this screen alone, in any of the screens, well, I don't know, I can't see them all in front of me at this moment, but anytime we can use fewer palettes, the better. But I think the whole room, and I don't know if they actually do though, but this, that might look funny. I feel like they've got, is that the same gray? Yeah, it's not. We don't have a lot of, well, we have a lot of grays to pick from, except for a lot of they look the same. So kind of this like brownish gray, which I don't think we're gonna have the luxury of having. So let's just do it and see how it looks. It'll probably be fine. Good enough. Let's go ahead and we're gonna have, so we'll have at least one palette for the wood pieces. So we need like a beige-ish color, medium. I'm trying to pick up a dark brown. Yeah, this one. So same thing here. It's going to touch up against the left. Well, and there's no space on there's no grid because they're not, well, we do have this, it is gridding against the one next to it, but the far one goes to the edge. So we do, let's see what it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like the first one is the full 8, and the last one is that a stubby 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. We can of course do it our own way or count and copy here. Okay. So this is all in the same tile. This dark brown. And to some degree, getting this exact at the moment. Well, and not necessarily does it ever have to be exact, but missing something here. Oh, we need the line of space on the bottom, so we get that split. So move my pattern up here. All right. Yeah, anyway, something like that. The next one, it's going to be something like this. Brown's going to go all the way across. The split's only on that line, so okay. And then I'm not gonna try to get it away, but anyway. Some sort of hangover here. This one too. Okay. Well, let's call it good enough. Doesn't look as good as his. I'm kind of tired of it. All right. So we've got our 3 tiles for the ground. We looking at this whole screen here. I don't want to see all this. Maybe paint's not the best. Do this. Oh. We're gonna want to stick with meta tile and attribute tile boundaries here, so we cut this far off. There's about 4 there, and we only need 3. Something like that. Put our little, oh yeah. Of course, I think, dun, dun, dun. Rethink our idea here. Yeah, of course, the little wood things are going to be the same attribute table, but brown bricks are cool too. There's not really a whole lot we're going to be able to do about that, I guess. Yeah, because the bricks have 2 shades of gray. The wood needs at least, it has 3, but we're going to at least want 2 shades. Now we could, do we really need 3 shades of gray? I don't know about that. So maybe we give up one of our gray shades, or give up one of our brown shades to be able to have some gray. So what if we change this palette? We'd have a light brown, medium brown, and then a gray. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily look bad. To some degree, it looks like shadowing. Think of the bricks below being shadowed by the top. I don't know. I think I like it slightly better than the bricks just being, that just looks like an attribute clash, which, I mean, that's what it is. But stylistically, I kind of like that. So let's just go with that for now. Okay, so gonna need some ladders and some of these big bricks over here. Let's just we'll leave this bottom row of 2 for backgrounds for now. Might want to move these to the middle or top, but let's just do it quick and dirty. Ladder. Okay, so we're going to be using this palette. And in general, we've got 2 tiles here. We want a row of browns or blacks, 2 rows. Blacks on the bottom. And then dark brown coming over. We got black on the side. Okay. So here, it's gonna do it quick, but not so quick. Anyway, it didn't take much to do what I think they have exactly there. I do wish this zoomed in part of NES Screen Tool actually lets you see the window could be just a little bit bigger to show me those other ones. Okay. So there's some of these, every other ladder rung is broken, which we probably can afford, but for now I'm not going to worry about it. So let's draw some ladders here. So we can match things on the height for the most part. To some degree, this is what I'm kind of realizing I want is just a big map of everything that I can scroll around in, because some decision I make on this screen to cut area here or there may be impacted by the screen above it or to the side of it. And as we're condensing these screens to fit on the NES, it's not going to be very fun to have to retrace our steps. Yeah, so Ben Shaku had a suggestion to for the attribute clash. I could remove one row of bricks at the bottom, which is true, but like we have these little platform guys, kind of like keeping these gotta choose where to make our sacrifices to some degree. Sticking with meta tiles, matching up with the attribute tiles is going to be the easy way to go. these guys, it kind of looks nice to have that little brick there. We're not losing that. And in general, collision detection, you know, the whole meta tile instead of half of the meta tile being, I'm not sure about other parts of the game, how much we're going to run into that, but Sakananako, I'm not going to say your name right, is saying that they leave a clash at the bottom of the ladders, which is, yeah, that's true also. And if you could get, and as Homebrew was saying, if you could get the assets from the creators, that'd be a deal. And I think that may very well happen, and that's why I'm not trying to spend too much time right now. And they may, like I'm saying, I want this map of everything, and maybe they'll just hand that to me. I'm not really expecting it. Some of the stuff is kind of fun to make myself, but we'll see. And Chuck was saying it could impact other parts since it's mixed half the conversion. Oh. Anyway, there are a few rooms in Lizard. Got tired of dealing with attributes. And put some sprites over the top. Oh. Is that bread? Anyway. Anyway, we'll just some things we want. My hands are getting cold. Don't type so good. We want overall map to look over a while. Redesigning, or yeah, redesigning screens. Okay, so because as I look at this screen, I'm like, well, yeah, we can take it from the top, but then scroll over to the right, and maybe we don't want to take it from the top. And anyway, so before we get too heavy into things, right now we don't even, we're still very much in the stage of we don't know what we don't know, what we want and don't want. So just getting our hands dirty and starting to think about some of these things critically here. So for this, I'm just going to say we can take it from the top or the bottom. Anyway, we already made the decision. No, we didn't. I don't think we need about nothing. I don't think we go down from here. Let's just steal them from the bottom. What we do right now doesn't matter a whole lot anyway. Oh, no, there's those vines and everything on the next screens. Yeah, see, this is why I want those things. So we're taking it from the top. So as far as this screen's concerned, we don't have this row up here, which gameplay wise, there's some things that we learn here looking at this screen. We see, oh, there's this hole up here. I wonder if we can get there, and there's other places in the game. So yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit losing that. Part of me half wonders how vital this heads-up display is, or I don't know. Anyway, it's a problem to figure out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just seems extra high. I don't know, I'll be interested to see how much gameplay testing is gonna, oops. Oh, I didn't draw that ladder in the right. It's not lined up with the attribute tables. No. There. I'm saying we could keep maybe 2 bricks at the top left, underhanging the ceiling. Well, and I guess that's the other thing is we can give these visual cues. Like right here, what's this really, I think, looking at this screen itself, the place to cut a row would be right here. We don't need that. Not necessarily take it from the very top or take it from the very bottom, but visually we can look at this and be like, oh, we don't need this row. But, and that, the nice thing about not taking it from the very top or the very bottom is it should have less impact on neighboring screens. And those screens shouldn't care that that's where we cut our row. The only thing is you know, platforming, playing around is going to be an issue. So for now, we'll just say we did it there. So this guy's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's not even. Oh, that's interesting, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I just can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems tall. I guess it's right. And I don't know if NES screen tool is really going to be the place where we want to design all of these screens. But tiled is probably going to be better for that. Probably. But we won't worry too much about that right now. So I'm most familiar with NES screen tool, and I don't necessarily feel like learning a tool while streaming. So yeah. No. Man, you have to hold shift when you click. It's hard to remember to do that. Dang. Anyway, this is testing my interest level, but in a way, this is a lot of what I'm going to be doing. I just feel dumb for streaming it to some degree, but that's okay. You can only control Z once. Yeah. So that's kind of it. Got another ladder. Anyway, yeah, this is really where we want to be able to see what's on the neighboring screen. So that's kind of that screen. Oh, we messed up the top. We used the first palette because it was white. So all we really need is white. For that top. I don't know if we're always going to have, or we're just always going to have some palette with white in it. We were using the first palette, but then we decided to put brown. We got palettes to spare. Let's just play for a little bit here. See some of these other screens. Palettes, we're gonna have to make choices on anyway, but so now look at this screen, and maybe we'll just make a little bit of these maps for ourselves. Oh, really? We'll just get another paint going here. It's kind of annoying. do this manually. Especially with paint. But messing everything up. Anyway. So I've got this screen over here. But it would be nice to basically get that overall map and be able to see it all, make annotations of maybe where we want to cut some rows. And Chuck said, I don't know how much impact when transition for palettes. So yeah, that's the other thing to think about is these screen scrolls. To some degree, if one screen uses a different set of palettes than the other, you're going to see it. You're going to have problems changing palettes between here. So somehow we're going to have an issue of palettes. I mean, at some point, the room that we're coming into is going to have a different set of palettes than the one we're coming from. I'm trying to remember Battle Kid, but I think it's just Battle Kid 2. Has similar screen transitions to this. I'm very well remembering wrong. But one idea is kind of cheap, but works is to gray out the screens. Basically, we can relatively easily with PPU just go grayscale, I think, with the emphasis bits or something. Anyway, or just change all the palettes to some shades of gray, and then right before the screen scroll we change everything to gray, and then right after it's done then we change the palette. So any palette changes we need to make, you're not going to see the colors during the screen scroll, but you'd at least see the map. It's probably not going to work to be able to. Anyway, there's something to think about. Let's just make it over that. Can get rid of. Want some visual cue. That's a different screen though, but put it about like that. Got this guy. And to some degree, if this is all you're doing, you get in the rhythm of making that map. And it's not necessarily that bad. Thanks to the power of Microsoft Paint. But I don't know. Part of me says, oh yeah, the Eldon Pixels guys could give me some things and it could make things easier. Which, you know, maybe they will, but part of that also takes out some of the fun of it. I'm doing this for fun. Oh, we already have that screen. I'm not doing this to you know, as a job. Sometimes you can spend a lot of time making tools to try to do things efficiently. Oh, why am I? Oh, yeah, that is the next screen. To do things efficiently, or you can just one-time job, whatever. Just do it. I mean, people do puzzles for fun. Well, it's a lot of work, but it's I mean, obviously, you could just buy a picture and put it on your wall, or you could spend a couple hours putting a puzzle together. Neither is wrong, but if you want to do a puzzle, buying the photo poster and putting it on the wall, it goes against the point. Let's set this up. So our one paint screen's over here. Less scrolling. The windows, I have my second screen over here on the left. It's just kind of annoying for my copy pasting. Even though it's over here, I will forget. And although hopefully I didn't mess up my stream. Make sure that's still good. Okay. What is this screen? This is Alwa did not like that. So yeah, 11:30 here. Been going for 2.5 hours. I don't really have a planned ending here. No, I don't think I was playing this level or this save. But I don't know how long it'll last past midnight. Okay, so we got That's Amber Sanctellum. I don't know how to say that word. So let's just stay in the Forsaken Valley for now. Put this guy in this corner, this guy here. Oh, sorry. So we don't. Oh, on this screen we can come down from here. But here in the Forsaken Valley, we're stuck going up right here. So right now I'm just kind of wanted this because I wanted to think more about pallets. He's gonna kill me. I wanted to have him there. It's nice to see. Have the enemy placements for reference. There we go. Making it faster. Put that there. This area. Oh, we don't have the box, the green box to get up there, but I think you can go down that waterfall maybe. I don't know. There's some rooms over there. But anyway. I think I can actually jump over there quite yet. When I have my ball, you can, but that area of the map is basically hidden for us at the moment. Having all of that is good, but it kind of makes me well, you know what, there might actually be, there's some sites that just have the gameplay maps already done for you. But anyway, let's just finish this out. And deal with it. So these brown ones stay, these gray bricks fall away. That fence stuff is going to be interesting. Keep hitting pause. Don't do that. So here's one boundary, the Forsaken Valley, I think. Oh no, we're still in the Forsaken Valley. Just keeps going. It's probably... Oops. Oh, bitch, Augustin only found one sea monk. Searched a few minutes ago. Sea monk, I forget what those... That's not ringing a bell at the moment. It's a blessing and a curse. But my memory is pretty bad. If I take a break from playing any game, I come back to the game and I feel like I need to start over again. Which is nice in that you get some getting replay value out of a game isn't, it's pretty easy to do. You know, playing it over again and it feels new again. But yeah. This guy won't let me through until I have the map, I think. Maybe this is a more interesting screenshot, but at this point I don't care. And I'm not gonna have all this text anyway, so that's a lot of things. So it's still Forsaken Valley, but I think it's something else on the other side. You guys do impress me with your willingness to watch this. Is that right there? It's still Forsaken Valley, but feels like more of the same at this point. So oops. Okay. I mean, I have the whole map, but I'm not sure how much I care right now. So we're thinking about palettes. We always need something white for the heads-up display. And white does not appear to be commonly used. We've got it in this blue background. We've got it in the waterfall. Oh, Mr. Stamaflash is giving me a nice tip here. Alt print screen takes a screenshot of the currently focused window. I did not know that. Alt print screen. Oh, wow. Thanks for that. Yeah. There's always like tricks like that you don't think to search for. Like, oh, this is just the way I've been doing it since ever. And then you see somebody else doing it, and you're like, oh, you know, there's a better way. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so put that in my bag of tricks. So we've got this palette that we're definitely going to be needing some sort of blue palette for the clouds in the background. So for now, let's just assume that we're going to use palette 2 here. So we need some sort of, we need dark cyan. We need a white. And then we get 2 other blues. We'll do a little bit brighter one there. So maybe those 2. In reality, what have they got? They've got white, the cyan, and then this darker cyan. But then, okay, so for these clouds down here, they've got black, which we will have as our background, our transparent color. And then they've got the 2 different cyans. It's just, you think it's more colors, but it's not. It's making good use of those limited colors. So yeah, then the other thing that we kind of have is some green stuff. We've got these vines, this dirt. Is gonna be able to use the same palette as our little wooden platforms. I went ahead and changed the dark brown to gray because it kind of looked nice, but you know, maybe some of these palette changes between screens could be more subtle. I don't know. We've got so these bricks kind of fall in the same. They're going to be able to use the same brick background that we have there, but we are going to want a palette that has 3 shades of brown. That'll certainly be nice to have, which is kind of here. So it's not terrible, and we can play around with it. But looking at this screen with these wooden platforms, have to shade it to the same palette as these guys. I don't think this does a good job of hiding the attribute tables. Or if you make it a gray, it kind of feels like a shadow, blends in. But anyway, when it comes to these other screens with the dirt, we're really going to want that dark brown. And so maybe to some degree it's not that, if we're just making these subtle palette changes, it won't be that big of a deal just to flip that color as we scroll over, and I don't know. Make up our mind at some point, but for now my computer's doing better. Okay, so hopefully you guys are working okay. I'm just gonna see what happens. All right, so we got our heads-up display fixed. These binds, they kind of need the same tan as this guy for the spikes. Well, we could, they don't necessarily need it. We could get some of the same visual effect with a bright green, a medium green, and maybe a dark blue. But these pieces here are like gray and blue, but they might have to, I don't know. We're using more palettes than we have, but well, I guess if we use the gray, that's an idea. The spikes can be kind of gray. Green and blue, I don't know. Worry about the exact palette choices when we're getting to that art. So you're saying the ladders in these screens have this orangish, this red orange. They're gonna have to be using the same palette, but to some degree, Forsaken Valley, from what we can tell, gets by with those palettes. Waterfall, be the same blue and white. Anyway, one thing we can go do is try this background with these broken drywall or whatever's going on here. So in general, there's lots of these all dark gray tiles. And then we've also got some tiles with wood. We'll make those guys kind of a gray edge to them, but then black. So something like that for a vert or a horizontal. And then for vertical, they've got black on the sides and gray. Yeah, so I'm trying to send the, if too many colors, you can remove the transition effect and just use the proper palette in the other screen. Yeah, and that's the solution. I kind of like the transition effect to some degree, and some of these things you play around with it, see what it looks like, whether or not you like it in practice or not. But one idea I had was to turn the screen gray to some degree in transition, but maybe you don't even want at that point. I need to go look and see what Battle Kid 2 does. I think it did, but I'm guessing Battle Kid 2 to some degree, just by design, respects the palettes of the NES and doesn't have these issues, so it's not as big of a deal. But let's draw some of these, get this looking closer to the original. Ooh. Well. It's kind of the only choice we have. That doesn't look great. And I guess, oh, that's bad. Dang it. Anyway. We could these areas don't really have these green palettes, but I thought we were going to be able to use the same palette, but I don't know if it's really gonna. I mean, to some degree, the way we design these tiles could still make this palette choice look good. We may just need a gray tile that has some black on the bottom. Yeah, just gotta compromise it. Feels right. I do wish, I don't even know if we really have a darker gray to go with, but we do have this. This one is a little, this gray is a little darker than this one. Yeah, so saying no scroller can remember Battle Kid 2, but I seem to remember the screen transitions from one to the other. And it's been a long time since I played Battle Kid 2, so I could be wrong, but I thought that when you went from one screen to the other, it scrolled similarly to Alwa's Awakening, but maybe it doesn't. So we do have a slightly darker gray that we can pick from in this palette. So we could pick that gray and a brown. And if we did that, get this brown or this gray. And just stop doing that. We're seeing where we didn't abide by our attribute tables. That's all right. Anyway. To some degree we can get this board effect. But I did not put those edges. I guess that's the other thing too, is for squeezing everything from 16 by 9 to 4 by 3, we don't have a whole lot of freedom of choice based on attribute tables when we're redesigning these levels. Yeah, so they're saying confirm no transition in Battle Kid 2, so I'm not sure what I'm thinking of, but I thought there was maybe there's some other visual effect that Battle Kid 2 has that the first one didn't, but maybe I made that up. I mean, like I said, it's been a while. I made this tile. to be able to have some separation there on the bottoms. We also would need one, or want one, on the right edge. So yeah, the attribute tables are gonna limit our ability to redesign these screens. But I mean, for some things it's going to matter and some things it's not, you know. It's not that, I mean, you look at this screen here and you're like, oh, you've got this relatively medium length platform, this little one in the middle, and this one over here, and you have to jump from here to here to here. Well, how vital is this platform right here really in the design of this screen? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Well, we can go ahead and put it there. Is it the same as the original? No. Does it, you know, so it's where it starts to matter is when you get into enemy placement and, you know, the platforming challenges in general. You know, so we'll see. I don't think it's impossible, but something to think about. So this guy, to honor the attribute tables, really needs to be there, but I messed it up. So this, to some degree, not getting too caught up in the details at this point. I'll have plenty of time to do that, I'm sure. This guy. Anyway, at this point, I'm just tinkering with these things. But it'd be nice to have the screen look nice and make the screen pretty, and maybe we'll call it a night. They're on the wrong palette. No. What is this? This one. There we go. So yeah, I still gotta get these destructible bricks, but I'm not gonna bother making those for the time being. I already slashed them out of the way, we'll say. But we're getting somewhere. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have some things to look into as far as bringing in the raw assets. I don't think it's important for me to worry too much. Oh, that's a double corner, but the exact map isn't that big of a deal. It's not going to be directly imported anyway, with things being redesigned. I don't know if NES screen tool is the best option, but these are all just things to figure out. Where to go from here. I mean, we kind of have a screen already. We kind of have a palette plan of sorts. We've got to figure out, I think I wrote it down, yeah, dealing with palette changes between screens. Something we want to have some of a solution for. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal to, I don't know. We're just going to have to see it and play around with it, but I would like to have the screen transitions if we can get by with it. And yeah, we ended up having to do some compression vertically and horizontally.